for our last breakout session, we'll be talking about how to use Data Explorer to gain insights. Joining us today from Global Payments is the Manager of Product Growth, Chad Parker.
Hey guys, I'm Chad Parker. Today we're going to talk about using event properties to get better insights using your Data Explorer. So again, I'm Chad Parker. I'm from Global Payments Integrated. Global Payments provides payments and commerce solutions for businesses, small and large businesses. And I am from Utah. And in Utah, it's a lot colder than it is here. I think it was 35 today as a high. So if I'm sweating, apologize. Also, I have 5 kids, and we have family here locally in Raleigh. So we decided it would be a great idea to send all 5 of our kids here and visit family. And let's just say my day yesterday on those flights was not great when one of my kids had motion sickness and threw up all over me in the middle of the first leg of our flights. So if you thought you had a bad day, you're welcome. I made it better. Okay, so today we're going to go over an introduction to our use case at Global Payments. And we're going to talk about what event properties are and why you should be using them. And then we're going to talk about the different hypotheses that we had in our use case, the questions that we had, and how we used those event properties and Data Explorer to find the answers to those questions. So again, work for Global Payments Integrated. We recently went through a merger with another very large payment processor, and Global Payments became Fortune 500 as part of this merger. And so if you've ever been through a merger before, you know what that means. Product consolidation. There's always multiple products that do the same thing. And you got to get down to a single product that does that. And so what we've been focusing on is creating a new customer portal. Got Mike Poulter in the audience today. This is one of his designs for our new portal. We have three existing customer portals that all service the same needs for customers on different platforms that have been acquired over the last few years. And so our goal was to create a new portal. The legacy ones weren't the greatest customer experience. And so we wanted to create a better one and learn from the existing portals that we have and not make the same mistakes as we build the new one. So before we get into the specifics of our use case, I want to talk about what event properties are. Event properties are a way for you to gain additional context and insight from clicks on your page. Right now you get so many people clicked send message if you have a send message feature. What you can do is collect other things on the screen other than just that one click event. So when someone clicks, for example, send message, you can collect the value of other things on the screen along with that send message button click. So again, if you have a feature to send a text message or an email to your customers, then when the send message button is clicked, you can have Pendo scrape off the field data for the drop-down that says email or text. Super, super powerful. We use this all over the place. I'll go into where specifically you do that later in this presentation. Um, but it allows you to go to the next level on getting context for your click data and not just click data. So again, as we're building our new one and looking at our old customer portals, it was obvious to us that we have too many options in our reports and in our searches. Specifically, this is a date picker that we have in one of our old systems. And our hypothesis was there are too many options here, and they're probably not used. And we've also had customers tell us things. This is a quote that I tell my development teams all the time. I have to work so hard using the portal. And how many of you have had customers? I mean, we've all had customers tell us things like this that tell us we've got an issue and we've got to solve it. So I'm going to drill down into the date picker today, going back to this one. But we've been able to do this with event properties throughout the software. So the questions that we had along with those hypotheses were, which options are used the most out of that dropdown? What is not used so that we can deprecate it? And how do we help the user get what they need faster? So what we did, going back to event properties, is we added event properties to that generate report button. And you can come back and look at these slides later. But when you're tagging a feature using the Pendo designer, at the bottom of that feature tag, you can add an event property. And basically what you say is, okay, for this generate report button, I want to collect the value of this field. And so in one, you select the field. Then in two, on this example, you select the data that you want to pull from that field. So you can see in this example, I've got the date selector drop down selected here. And the value that I'm pulling is today. In this use case, today was used. So then, once I get those, I can go to the Data Explorer and group by event properties at the bottom. Once you have event properties available for your different tagged features, they can show down there. So you can see I'm grouping by event property of the date time picker. And I've also got feature clicks here. If you haven't clicked up there, there's so much more you can get from Data Explorer by changing the way that you're looking up the data. So you can add, I want to see not just total clicks, but I want to see the number of visitors that did each of these, or the number of accounts or percentage. There's lots of different options there that you can explore. So going into the findings of what we found confirmed our hypotheses that we had lots of things that weren't being used. I'm going to pull up a graph that came from Pendo. So out of all these options, we have lots of this week, last month, this month kind of options. People use 3 of them. They use today, which is the default. That's the most used. They use custom date range second, and they use yesterday third, and then the rest, everything else, 5%. One of the options we had used less than 100 times by our 25,000 users in a whole month. And so Pendo, using those event properties, helped us find this out. So going even further into that, here is a little demo of how that date picker works and how the custom date works in the legacy system. So going with this data, we went to a lot of these customers and we interviewed them and found out that it was just too busy. There was too much there, too many options, and they didn't know what this week meant or last week meant. There was no visual indicator to them of what those things meant. And then what we also learned was the custom date picker was a little heavy. You've got to pick the beginning date from a drop down. Then you've got to pick the ending date from a drop down, and then click apply. So along with Mike here in the audience, we came up with a solution to use a new date picker that surfaces the most used ones first, which is that custom date. As soon as you click on the date picker, you have 2 months to choose from, and you can either start with the end date or the beginning date. Next one you click finishes that range. And then we narrowed down a lot of those options down to 5 relative options at the bottom. And all of this was made possible knowing what to choose and what not to choose using event properties and Data Explorer. So in conclusion, I would highly encourage you guys to go back home, pull up Pendo, and start picking what event properties you want to add to your features. The power is awesome, and the graphs and the context that you can get from those clicks is great. Please come find me if you guys have any questions. And I'd be happy to jump on a call when you guys get back to the office or home or wherever you're working and help you set these up and talk to you about your use case. Kind of a Pendo nerd. Thank you so much.